right, welcome back. It's been a while. Sorry I've been on the road, but welcome back to the Shopcast 831.
Shoe.
Right out of the shop, Monterey. I got two resident artists here with me today that we haven't met yet. I'd like you to introduce Troy Harcrow and Dan Slade.
Howdy doody.
They're some of our newest residents here. You guys have been here a couple months now.
Yeah,
So.
about March was it we started?
Yeah, I think it's 4 months.
Wow. Yeah, time flies in these days. But we're super happy to have these guys around now. Let's just jump right into it. I'll start with you, Troy, and talk about how you guys met and what you actually do and what kind of art.
Right on. Well, we'll start with Dan and I. We met at one of the coolest events that has happened and will never happen again. The Carmel Valley Big Surreal. It was an epic fun event up in the valley. A lot of good music, good times.
Circus tent.
Yeah, and I had a bunch of good friends that I talked into going, and we all met up, and that's kind of how my story started, really. It was all those cats that Dan's met, a bunch of my Oklahoma friends from Oklahoma.
Okay.
You know, about 10 years ago now, we all moved out. Big group of my friends that I went to school with.
They all moved out with you.
I had about 10 friends that, not together,
Uh-huh.
but in different instances, moved out to California
Wow,
from
that's
Oklahoma.
When I
That's
met
pretty
them, they
cool.
were all together, though, pretty much. It was like this big group of 10 guys from Oklahoma who did California better than anyone I've ever met in California, right?
That's awesome.
Shout out to the Funky Town crew.
Yeah.
But yeah, I stayed, you know, I've been here, and Dan and I reconvened a few months ago and started doing some artwork, basically because he asked me to do a couple t-shirts for him. You know,
Okay.
He's got a simple style and said, hey, I want you to put some of your work on a shirt so I can wear it. And I said, okay. And after we started talking about what he wanted on a shirt, things evolved from there. And I thought, man, he had such a good idea that we should try to share this, you know. And through that, opportunity opened up here at the shop, and it's been full force screen print action since.
Nice. I know.
Yeah.
And Dan, what made you decide to jump into that with him?
It was probably seeing Troy, to be honest. I was in LA going to school for design.
Okay.
And COVID started. Didn't want to wait in line for Safeway. You know, it was ridiculous down there, scary. I came up and was with a few friends at Ribera Beach and saw Troy and his girlfriend. I hadn't seen them for years. Shout out Mimi. And I ended up being like, yeah, I was thinking about starting a t-shirt company. At the time, I was thinking about trying to figure out some way to do a nonprofit. I just wanted pretty much any product to sell to try to get some money just to give to homeless people, make like packs.
Oh, okay.
And then I talked to Troy. I was like, do you think you can make a design? I wanted to get like movie scenes that like are inspirational to me or get some sort of vibe, or even just like totally like 90s movie scenes that are just nostalgic for everyone, even if they're cheesy. And he liked it. We started making designs, and once we saw them, they're like so amazing. We didn't really want to do them online. We talked to some like online t-shirt companies, you know, like seeing how to put our designs up and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just, you want to talk to a screen printer in person. You know what I mean? You want to like really see what your designs, what's going on with your product, and like get your placement all perfect and everything. So we came to talk to Powers, and he was like, just get an artist space back here and start making shirts and learn to screen print. So me and Troy went to work. Yeah.
We came to Powers with the idea, knowing, you know, he's got the capabilities to do the printing. And so the very first day that we came over here just to say, hey, you know, we got these ideas. What do you think? And he liked them, of course. We'll be able to print it. And he goes, well, tell you what, we got an office opened up back there. And why don't you come back and we'll get you a spot. Said, you get your spot, we'll print your shirts, we'll make it work. And
Powers being Powers.
said, all right, Chris. And so we did, and next thing we know, you know, a little bit of motivation and extra time on our hands because of the situations. And we got to town and did some work, and next thing you know, we got a rig back there, and we're printing stuff.
Yeah.
But COVID kind of wrecked a lot of things, and here we can't even get a hold of the proper T-shirts that we want. So dialing things in, slowly but surely, but you know, this whole spot has evolved so much, and I think we're a good example of that. You know, there's a lot of different stories in the shop that just have blossomed.
Yeah.
You know, such a cool creative
That
space.
was a perfect Powers impersonation, by the way.
Yeah, it really was.
No, that's what's cool. I was wondering how you guys, you know, connected with Chris when you first came in, because it seemed like you guys had an idea and it just kind of blossomed pretty fast through. And that's what I like about Powers too, is like he's always willing to hand out whatever is necessary
Yeah.
to help people get their businesses going.
I think it's also what I like about the shop in general too. It's like everyone has some roots, whether it's like here or someplace in Central California. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a lot of accessibility here. Like I knew Powers just from like growing up in this area, knowing that he's a screen printer around. You know, seeing him like I saw him out at Nakarubi in like 2011 or something like that, like on the side of a hill, printing out of the back of a truck, with, like dirt all in the air and stuff. And it was literally like that memory. I was like, dude, like I want to get my t-shirts done from someone local and, you know, really help someone out that I know. And that's like the shop, you know, that's like kind of what it is. It's like, you want a good artist, you want someone who's going to get your job done efficiently and well, but there's also local people doing it right here. So why not just come do them? And you probably know them already. So it's going to be just an overall better experience. Even just, I walked into a couple screen printing shops, and one, they didn't want to work with me on like bringing in my own garments. I had to order from them. And two, it's almost like an overly professional environment when you want to do something like pretty much everything being done in the shop. It's creative. You want to be able to like flow with someone and talk to them about it and like be friendly, not so professional, you know? And that's what I got out of Powers in this place, was like the ability to like be creative and not have to hold myself back or like worry about anything like that.
Right. Nice. Between you and G and Powers,
not to mention
and Jess and everybody in here, it's like there's no competition. It's all creative energy, and it's like it's really easy to get in there and get lost for hours and come up with something awesome. Because of the interest, you know, and I think everybody here is on the same page in that same creative wave, so it's fun, you know. It's not only work, but it's a lot of fun. You know, and when that happens, great things come out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Great things.
Well, that says a lot when you're saying, you know, like you guys came in wanting to screen print. Like anybody else who's not like Powers would be like, whoa.
Don't think so.
And he right away invited you guys in, you know.
You want to come into my shop and I'll do my job? And it's like, okay.
Well, he's also like hooked it up too with me with another shop too. Like he's got me working at another shop, really teaching me like everything about screen printing now. It's like,
nice.
Dude's just like the homies, like absolutely like trusting me to not try to rip him off or anything. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's the right approach too. Like everything's so competitively driven as far as, you know, in a lot of these industries, competition's not necessarily the right way to go about it, you know. And I think that's what we like about here at the shop, like the competition. There's a friendly competition.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Sure. There's definitely that, but
it's the fun part of it.
I think that competition is kind of born out of collaboration, though, too, at the same time. It's like, yeah, we can compete, but we're more inclined to cooperate and to, like, collaborate because, you know, I have a certain style of art. That doesn't mean my style necessarily works for everyone who comes in here, you know, and it's just so good to have so multiple styles all working together. Just because, you know, even let's say you drew something that I did. Let's say we both did a Bruce Lee. It's not that mine's better than yours or yours is better than mine. Now that gives people two varieties of Bruce Lee, you know.
Exactly.
And that's what it's really about.
Exactly. You know, the same subject is irrelevant because the individual creativity is so different. And that's what I like about the whole collective is exactly, we both have a Bruce Lee piece, but they're so vastly different, you know, from each other that it's epic art regardless of the subject. You know, watching Avellino back there whip out a beautiful painting of Bob Marley or whoever like that
in like an hour.
Like and then just paint over it because he messed up. You know, that was a beautiful painting. You know.
Well, I think the cool thing about that too is like you learn from it, right? Like I was gonna say, a good example of that is your shirt right there. Like this shirt, because it's like more of a tattoo design, they put a lot of work into the detail of it and like how they did it digitally with the half toning. And I didn't realize you could do that kind of half toning with screen print. Like it looked so good. I was like, oh my god! Like after I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm gonna fucking do something like that.
That's the thing. I've never gotten designs like these done by screen printers because they've always told me, oh, you need to do it in solid black, or, you know, get it vectorized,
or do DTG or something like that.
And so I've never really bothered. And then Chris, you know, when we were planning this, he's like, oh yeah, just draw. Like if you can draw in grayscale, it's fine. I'm like, really? And then he showed me the whole process. I'm like, damn, that's cool.
It really changes the things when you learn little tips and tricks like that, you know.
Yeah, and having all the different styles really forces you to. You're forced to learn, right? Like, because you have your own alley and you know everything there. And as soon as someone else does something that could break into yours, it's like game changing. Yeah, absolutely game changing.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit. Before I even get into that, let's talk about your art that you brought in here.
Sure.
A little bit. What you got working on over here?
This piece here, I got, it's all pen and ink.
Man, that's amazing.
You know, I kind of started a bunch with fonts, you know, seeing what I could write. And really what it came from is the Smilex thing. I wanted to start doing hard black and white, really hard-lined ink style drawings.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started with this Smilex that he's got on, and I loved it, and I loved the style. So I had one pen nib, you know, and a little ink, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I bought a whole bunch of different pen nibs, and this was the piece that I wanted to do. I did it for my girlfriend's birthday. Big Pink Floyd fan, right? So Pink Floyd at the bottom, but obviously there's a little bit of things going on here. Then it's like I wanted everybody with Smilex smile, you know. What's the most important thing is smiling, being happy, being able to breathe fresh air out by the ocean. You know, we live here in Monterey Bay. It's beautiful. So that's where this piece kind of came from, but a lot of Pink Floyd. You know? But pen and ink, it's an amazing thing, and you have to be precise, and you know as a tattoo artist, like, you really got to be precise with each line that you put down, and that's a lot of fun to me. You know, the challenge is a lot of fun to be able to do something like that.
Now, do you have an outline to begin with, or do you just kind of go with it?
What I did with this one is this picture is actually a scan of liquid ink art on projector. Like, so you drop the liquid projector art, you know, psychedelic concert style.
It's like food dye.
Yeah, so I took a screenshot of that, and I did a black and white rendering of it, and everything else, where the in the air is, I did a little technique where I put it on a copy machine, kind of slid the paper, and kind of drew everything out. It looked kind of psychedelic, so I tossed that in there. And this here is just a screenshot as well from Pink Floyd, the Echoes video, where they were live, and it all pans out. It's a beautiful shot, and that I just drew everything. And so it took me a bunch of sketches to lay everything out. Once I finally had the perfect layout, then I blew it up, put it on a big piece of paper, and I just went for it. So I kind of had a skeleton on the paper, and then I just went for it in the ink. And once I started on the ink, it's as if the skeleton didn't even matter. You know, I just started going, and it was like, okay, this is fun. So it started as a structured layout into like just a full-on freehand. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because part of something that I do is I'll do a color pencil sketch first, and then put the ink over it.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I've had a lot of people tell me, like, after a drawing's done, there's always like a little bit of color pencil still sticking out. They're like, "Oh, I like how you added the red." And I'm like, sure.
Yeah, you're going, red.
That always happens too. It's hilarious. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
That can be applied to a lot of different things.
I like to do that with pencil because you can erase it, but inherently, I always have fingerprints everywhere. It doesn't matter if I wear gloves, if there's paper everywhere, no matter what. I'm so sloppy, I get fingerprints everywhere.
And I'm left-handed, so it's really hard when you're drawing because, like, I had to learn
Sliding
to not be sliding over my drawing. Especially, I used to work a lot with charcoal. And
oh, yeah, definitely.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's when you turn, oh, yeah, I meant to have that shading.
That's when you look in the mirror, you have a black eye.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's talk about this one.
So this one, inspired by the first pop-up that we did, that I was involved in. So in March, we did a pop-up, and shoot, man, you guys were all painting outside, and I'm like, what do I do here? Or I got a canvas, I got some paints, and like I got to get involved. And so, you know, I like to do a lot of graphics with text and type. So I did a little type, and then there's some spray paint, so I sprayed it over it, and a little cowboy Daffy Duck, have a little toque there. But you know, this is really inspired out of being in that shop in that first show. You know, you guys had so much going on. There's so much color, and I always do things in black and white. That I was like, I gotta do something different. You know, this is amazing, and this is what came out of it. And I like it a lot. You know,
I love it. I like how you use multiple. You're just like basically experimenting.
Yeah, I had zero plan. I had a blank canvas and a bunch of paint in front of me, and as the day progressed, this is what happened. you know, I really enjoyed the outcome.
That's awesome.
You know, it's funny how mistakes, or not even mistakes, just throwing things everywhere inherently, you know, had your beautiful gradient came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And, you know, these drops, like, they just dried perfectly, and it was all by accident.
Those are the best.
That's what's fun about art.
I was just talking to Kayla at the pop-up today about that. Like, sometimes it's just about not knowing what you're trying to do, and that's when the most magical pieces come out.
It did, and it helped me a lot because, like I said, I like to do structural type drawings. You know, these are really hard line to define black and white things, and that's kind of what our Smilex is based around too, the graphic concept of that. But artists gotta let go sometimes.
Yeah.
You know? It feels good just to, you know, button down the shirt a little bit and let some paint fly.
Start something without something in mind, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So Dan, you've been local and you live here?
Yeah, grew up in Carmel, went to Carmel High.
Okay.
Graduated Carmel Valley High. Don't need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I moved back during COVID, but I've been pretty much just learned to screen print ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah, really trying to get this thing moving with Troy. I'm so fortunate to be able to work with him. I started looking at artists on Fiverr and stuff like that, and I got some cool things back. But it was just like, first of all, it's not local, and like I know so many artists. I used to sell art in LA, so I'm like, I really shouldn't be doing this.
Wow.
But when I got art back from Troy, I was like, first of all, he's my friend, but second of all, like his work is just so amazing, especially for like giving him a goal, like, hey, do this, and he just absolutely knocks it out of the park, and it's like 10 times better than you wanted, and like he sends you 4 versions of it, and da da da. It just really inspired to me to like take the whole t-shirt thing more serious.
Yeah.
So pretty much since then, I've just been learning how to screen print and like get it all right. Because we were in there like week 2, we pretty much had all our designs ready for a full run of shirts, you know, printed them. And by now, I think Troy knows, and I know, because we're the only ones with the shirts, that lots of the designs have washed out because we just didn't really know what we were doing back there.
We're learning.
And it's one of those things when back then I was like, oh, I need to get these out right now, and they should be up already. But I'm so happy that we did take this time and really took a step back, and I've had a chance to like really learn what I'm doing and realize that it's not just swipe the ink across and it's done type of situation.
Yeah.
Even just the texture alone, me and Troy, when we first started printing, everything had like points to it on our design. If you put your hand down on it, you might get a little prick.
Yeah, we it's a learning process, you know, and it's funny because neither one of us have any background in screen printing, but we're artists, and you know, I'd like to think we're both at least have a decent head on our shoulders to learn some things and learn how to do it. And so we had the opportunity and the time to just put our head down and learn how to do this. And thanks to, like I said, our buddy Powers over here and all the tools that he's just offered up and advice and offered up for free and said, learn how to do it. That's the only way you're going to do it. So, you know, couldn't be any more thankful for that. It's like just the opportunity to get your hands on something. You learn so much more, you know.
Yeah.
I could watch videos on YouTube forever, but it's never going to teach me what physically doing it is.
I'm thankful, too, for that. I'm thankful that it is more of a craft.
Yeah.
If not only for my own personal reasons of just like feeling like, oh, I need to do more for these T-shirts. Because that's one of the big reasons I wanted to screen print them in the end, you know. It's because I want it to be creative for me, too. You know what I mean? It's like a creative process for Troy making the art. And I was like, shit, am I just going to sell these? So I'm really happy to get to like screen print them, you know, and like make a craft out of that on its own. And it's so in depth, dude, choosing materials and stuff.
And if anybody wants to know, screen printing is an art form.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't call myself an artist, though.
Chris will like that. Powers will like that one.
Yeah, right. He is definitely an artist.
But no, it is an art
title
form.
I've like painted for years and like really tried to draw and like open an art gallery, and I just don't have that skill set. I just can't communicate what's in my mind. Digitally, I can maybe, but like I just can't communicate with my fingers, like whatever's in my mind to paper or whatever platform it is. But it's nice to have something like screen printing right. I can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think art is so arbitrary. Like, what's one person's art isn't necessarily what, like, some people are really, like, I'm fascinated by musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I can all day come up with visuals, but I can't make sounds, you
Mhm.
know, like
Right.
I know what I like to hear, but to be able to just pull it out of thin air or like just be able to make sounds work together, it just blows my mind.
I think art is like essentially magic, right? Like, because it's like a forced emotional feeling, right? Like if you hear a song, like you're kind of forced to feel how they intended it, and if you
Yeah.
see a piece of art, it's really good and impressive. Like you're gonna get some sort of vibe out of that like is not your own.
Yep.
And like, what else can you call that besides magic?
For
Yeah.
sure.
Like you said, I'm just amazed by music and musicians and the ability to pull out of the cosmos this symphony of vibration that, regardless of what style it is or what genre it is, that vibration makes somebody feel inherently really good somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like that. And to be able to pull that off as an artist, regardless of how many people it is, I mean, let's be honest, unless you're in the 1%, it's really hard to make money in this profession. But that's not what it's really about.
Mhm.
It's about making somebody go, wow, and feel something. You know, it's your expression, it's your statement that you get to make, but you know, somebody else is perceiving that, and to make somebody feel that emotion and trigger something, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it's all about.
100%.
You and I know, you and I are big reggae fans. You know,
Mhm.
reggae music makes you feel some way. Some people hate it, some people love it, but it's music, and that vibration just is perfect.
Yeah.
You know.
That's the beauty of it. It's like there's no, you can't put it in a box. Like
Yeah.
some people like this, some people like this. You know, like I don't really like country music, but I've been to country concerts and there's a lot of people who love them. So
People are having fun.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like no matter what, if you like the music or not, if you're in that environment and you're around those people, like you can't help but get caught up in it, you know, like, and that's what I miss so much about concerts through this time.
Oh yeah.
I can't, like, hopefully they're coming back. They are starting to come back, you know, hopefully it all goes well so that we can start enjoying live music.
Me and Troy were just talking about that. I was telling him I have this like primal need to just like dance and yell with a bunch of people after the whole world's been closed.
For
you know,
sure.
just like
I'd pay pretty good money just to go to a country music concert, just to be around some people that are loving music.
yeah.
You know, that's spare me the music, but just to be around the group, you know, having a good time, I'm in. You know,
Yeah.
it's been so long. Let's go see some live music, please.
100%.
You know, that's why these pop-up shops are so fun, because we're getting people together again. You know, we've all been, you know, clammed up for so long, and now we're all starting to slowly get back out, but I'm ready to get back out and
Yeah.
not just see people and the energy of the community again, and to have these pop-ups. Like today was a very successful one. It's fun to see that. It's fun to see the community get back together,
Absolutely.
you know.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because you guys did start your business here during the pandemic, and I want to dive into that a little bit, just because I think it's important for people to hear how it's like. Normally it's tough to start a business regardless. Like usually it takes 3 to 5 years to even establish, you know, a profit. Talk to me a little bit about what you guys have had to go through. You touched on it a little bit, how you can't even get shirts right now and stuff, but some of the issues you've come across, but also, you know, a little bit more about the strengths and things you've learned putting a business together during such a weird time.
Yeah.
And being able to, yeah, I mean, to me, you guys are doing an amazing job. Like looking at your setup in there, and just I always see you guys in here working and stuff. So, talk a little bit about the process.
To me, COVID was kind of like a forced time to like fill all my free time. I've been like more busy during COVID, I think, than before it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just because I don't like just being at home alone, I guess, or something, but I've really been super busy, and I think one of the things as far as keeping me going is just really keeping in mind that the whole world is on pause, kind of, you know, so I really was looking at this time here as like totally learning experience, like, you know, get everything set up for when it's over type of thing. I'm not really trying to blow up and like have my whole business be successful during COVID or any time within the first 6 months of starting it, you know, but I've just been looking at it as really like a time to grow. You know, just like everyone's chill, just chill out, take your time. You know, there's no rush. The whole world's still locked down. Get all your P's in a line.
Mm. Yeah, that was kind of the difficult part about all this, because the mental strain with everything this past, you know, year plus, a lot going on. Well, you know, you're inherently forced to stay home, and you can either take advantage of that or not. And I think we both were in the same mindset of we need to take advantage of this. You know, I was given time that I've never had in my adult life to work creatively. You know, I've always been in the restaurant world, whether it be in the kitchen or out serving wine. And inherently, that's a long day, you know. I've always worked nights, you know, most of the time doubles. But not having to work, I got the opportunity to be creative. And also, we had to survive, and you have to make money. So how can we creatively do something to bring in money? Mm-hmm. And I think we were both on that same mindset and on completely different tracks, and our tracks happened to match, and it came with something awesome. But just the time alone to be able to put that much work in was awesome.
We were really lucky, though.
I
think we were really lucky to have, 1, the shop, 2, be in Monterey, 3, to have each other, you know?
Yeah, we've had a lot of things aligned to be able to do what we're doing in that office. And I think both of us have done our best to take advantage of our opportunity, and we do have a cool office now. You know, we have our screen print equipment and the ability to continue this. And, you know, it takes a long time to turn that around, but it's on the road, and it's rolling. And it's because of the time that we had.
Yeah.
ODASmileX.com is going to be up in a few weeks, I think.
ODA Smilex.
Check it out.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's super important for people to hear, is like taking this time and being patient with it. Like you're saying, like that's a huge skill in it of itself.
It's so hard
to
for
just
me.
be patient, especially when you're starting a business. Like there's so many variables that you don't even think of while you're going into it. Like I remember when I was kind of figuring out, I don't even know if I can call what I do a business, but like I was just trying to figure out how do I make money out of this.
Sure. You
start thinking about, oh, okay, I'm going to do it this way. And then you start doing it and you realize, oh, shit, like that's not going to work. Like whatever variable steps in the way, you gotta adapt. And I think that's the biggest thing that people realize. When you can have a business plan, you can have everything figured out, but if you're not willing to adapt and be patient and figure things out, I think that's where most people trip up when they're starting a business. Like they get too impatient. They want things to happen now, and that's when they start making mistakes. And
that's exactly where we were at, and we got to the point of, okay, we have all this artwork, you know, like let's get it out. And we both looked at the first test shirt that we printed and say, let's take a step back, you know, there's no hurry for this, there's no rush, let's make it right, you know. And I agree, the same thing, just take your time, slow but sure, and you get all the details, and next thing you know, something comes out of it great.
Especially when you're being creative and creating a product, right? Is because I think you can hurt yourself a lot more than you help yourself rushing into things, because you might want some money right now and think, okay, this is going to help me fund a better product. But if you put out a crappy product and a bunch of people buy it, they're not going to buy your good product when you get it out.
Right.
In my opinion, you know, so it's like you might as well wait, build your brand true to what you want to be, put out a product that you're confident about and feel ready to go tell everyone in the world about.
Yeah.
And then what can stop you? You know what I mean? At that point, like do your thing and run with it.
Well, we're in Monterey County. Fire could stop us. You know,
City Hall.
Let's be easy on that.
I mean, well, I just shouldn't talk about what can stop us. Trademarks are pretty rude.
But like you're saying, that first impression is huge.
Oh yeah,
huge, especially in clothing. Like if you have a crappy first shirt, I mean, there's going to be a lot. It's going to be hard to get those people to be like, oh.
Well, especially when he's got an amazing design, you know. So it's like, if I'm fooling people, like, here's this awesome design, dude. You get it, and the shirt shrinks to a belly shirt the first time you wear it. You know, you're going to be pretty pissed off.
We ordered a first round of shirts, you know, thinking, okay, we're going to do a white T-shirt, and we got this black design. You know, it's going to look great. We printed it. We both high-fived, and this is awesome. And Dan put it on, and you can see right through it.
Yeah, I have like tattoos on my stomach. You can like see perfectly my tattoos.
So it's like, all right, this is a sign. This is one of those first test runs of can't just push it. You know, just let's be patient.
Of course, that was the order of shirts where I ordered like 200 shirts too. We still have just a box of these see-through shirts back there. I think I'll use them for like pop-ups or something. Just like hand them out, you know.
Yeah,
that's funny. Interesting. All right, I did want to talk a little bit, because you did mention you come from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Talk about what it's been like to move from Oklahoma to California. And
Well,
Some of the differences.
it was a pretty wild ride, and I went from two very different situations. I went to Oklahoma State. At the time, I was studying food, and one of my best friends out there, shout out Mullins, what's up? His family lived out here, and he said 2 weeks before spring break, I had about, barely any change in my pocket, and my friend's like, hey, I'm going to California to visit my family. You want to go with me? Okay, scrapped as much money as I could and came out here, and I saw Big Sur for the first time.
Yeah, came out to Big Sur, not here.
I
went straight to Big
That's
Sur
quite
from
a-
Oklahoma. Yeah.
It's quite a change right there.
I had never been really west of, Arizona. I've seen the desert, but I've never really been west to the coast. And so I get off the plane in San Jose late at night, almost midnight, dark. This windy highway 17, and I was like, oh my God, this place is crazy.
Yeah.
And get to Santa Cruz and spent the night in Santa Cruz and wake up in the morning to a beautiful day and drive down the coast for the first time. And I sat in the front passenger seat because they wanted me to see the coast. And I was so far from the window that I was like, oh my God, I've never seen mountains into the ocean like this. And vertigo is happening,
That's crazy.
But I kind of
Whole new
fell in love
world.
with the place. And a couple of years after that, I moved back out here.
Okay.
And I started working at Nepenthe. And I worked there for, 3 summers in a row. Spent a little time up in Tahoe and back and forth. And then working in the restaurant is how I made my money. But, on the side, did a little artwork. And a couple friends, the Handies and Love Lab Productions, asked me to do the logo for the Big Surreal Festival, which is non-existent anymore. But what a great time it was. Good friends, up in the mountains, music all night, as good as it could be. And that's where I met my girlfriend, in 2016, back in the Valley. I met all these guys.
He killed that job too, by the way.
Yeah.
It was really cool. We did a simple exchange for some tickets and logos, and it couldn't have worked out any better.
I want to see that design.
It's
Yeah.
cool.
That'd be cool.
I'll bring it. The tickets that year were actually bandanas. So if you showed up to the thing, your ticket was a bandana. And I still have. I've been wearing the bandana. I haven't worn that bandana ever until this year. I've worn it hundreds of times now.
Been waiting for this. Never knew I was waiting to wear my bandana, but I was.
But I spent a lot of time in the kitchen in Oklahoma with some really good people that were highly trained chefs, and just they still are around Oklahoma and Colorado, a couple other places that they do excellent work. And so I got trained to be sharp. I moved out here, and the person I moved in with was like, "You're gonna work in a kitchen. I work at Nepenthe. Why don't you try to, come wait some tables and make a little change and save up some money? First, it might be a little better idea for you." And I was like, "Okay, that's a good idea." And it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And that led me down to the wine world because, the opportunity in Monterey County for farming and juice is just exceptional. So, I got kind of lost in the vineyards for a while, and this year, actually, or in 2020, I decided to step away from the restaurant and, give a shot at working at the winery. And so I wanted to be an intern I worked at Roar Winery in Gonzales. Beautiful Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. First day on the job, September 2nd, fire season. And that was when the first day that we had all those fires and all the smoke. And so we're talking about adaptability. I went down this cool, new, exciting path for me, and everyone there was on their toes because who knows if we're going to get any grapes. There's going to be smoke. There's so many decisions. And, a bunch of those cats, they're so cool. They kept their cool the whole time. Our hillsides are burning down, and those
Gonna
guys
lose millions of dollars.
we got to do what we got to do. And that's what I love is adaptability. And this year has shown a lot of that in a lot of different aspects. But it's a lesson to be learned. Hey, be light on your feet because anything can happen, at any moment. And from moving to Oklahoma to California on such a whim, a planned whim, but pennies.
Yeah.
You got to be adaptable. And I lived way up in the mountains in Big Sur, so the road could slide out, the trees could fall, there could be a fire. It's a lot of unique situations here in Monterey, so in the peninsula. So I think it all culminated this year. Like, being adaptable is such a unique characteristic, and you got to have it.
Yeah.
You got to have it moving forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, talk about a year to make us all adaptable.
Right.
You know? Like,
Right.
that's cool. That Nepenthe, I haven't been there yet. I always drive by it, but
And it's probably super busy every
Yeah.
time you get there.
super busy.
It's worth it. Go
2
up on
hours.
the deck, regardless of how busy it is. Get you a glass of wine, stand there, check out the view.
Cop
soak
an
it all in.
ambrosia burger. The ambrosia's a pretty bomb.
That's the one, huh?
Fries and champagne.
Yeah, I gotta stop there.
Yeah, like I said, go up there, get you a glass of champagne, Chardonnay. They're selling Kongsgaard by the glass right now.
There's the
Whoa.
the Coastal Gallery. What is it? Old Coast. What is that gallery right across the street too?
Yeah, I've
There's
been
the
there.
Coast Gallery.
Yeah, I checked that out.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Sure.
sculptures and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Big Sur is unique. I spent a lot of time living up in the mountain and an hour-plus drive to work every day, 5 days a week on Highway 1. I moved here in 2012, and to now, the amount of volume of people has increased exponentially. My drive when I first started went from about 45 minutes all the way up to, an hour and a half. And it's just because of the amount of people.
Yeah.
Just steadily increased volume along this highway. It's pretty wild.
It's
Yeah.
inevitable.
Yeah, especially that highway. I mean, it's such a big draw for tourists now.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, it is one of the most beautiful drives.
People in
hands
LA
down.
know it exists, so they
Yeah.
get to come.
Well, with the internet too.
Yeah, exactly.
People
Yeah.
can now. It's like all the secrets are out.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
That's the last time I went to the Gorge. There was like so many children there. I was like, oh my god, dude. Last time I was here, there was this one hippie with an avocado.
I'm trying
Smoking a doobie. Now it's like place.
I'm trying to go there Monday. So
You are? Hopefully it's
Fingers
not too
crossed.
bad. I haven't been
Yeah.
for years.
Gotta go during the week. I feel like.
Yeah, probably.
You'll get a good spot.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about. You said you sold art in
Sold
LA.
art for a while in LA. Yeah.
What's
So,
your background here?
When I got out of high school, I moved to San Diego. Started going to community college. Just, what was that? I don't even know what I was doing. Cultural anthropology, I think. But all my friends did graffiti. And so I just started like trying to sell their graffiti and stuff like
That's
that.
awesome.
Just starting to think like, oh, what would be a cool job that I could do, because I'm not a good artist. I mean, I would go out do little stupid tags. You know what I mean? Like, that's my throw, bro. But I don't know. It just ended up developing into like, oh, I can sell art. You know what I mean? So I moved to LA after San Diego, after a couple years in San Diego, and started working with a couple galleries there to just throw pop-up events and stuff like that. Ended up becoming partners with this guy who had a gallery on Hollywood Boulevard, and we used to throw, like every Friday night, we'd throw a show at like the W Hotel on Hollywood Boulevard and stuff like that. And it was super crazy. Honestly, like every day of the weekend, I would get home at like 4 a.m. because the shows would go till 2, and like, I shouldn't say, it was just a lot of sketchy stuff going on. You know, people are hard to trust in LA. My partner ended up like not being like the perfect guy for my situation. And I ended up just opening a little gallery with this. So my partner at the time had another little gallery in downtown LA that I would work at. That was like completely separate from anything we had going on, because we would just do the pop-ups together. But at this place, he had a tattoo artist working, and me and the tattoo artist, like, let's just get our own spot together. So me and him ended up getting our own spot in downtown LA and 4th and Broadway. We called it Off Broadway. He was tattooing. I like filled the walls with art and had a couch and pool table in there. It was
like
pretty
spot.
cool, yeah. But it was one of those things, like I was young, you know, I thought it was going to be like open the doors, start making money. I invested a lot of money into like remodeling the space we were in and stuff. So like after like 3 months of not making enough to like, you know, get by, I was like, crap. Like I'm stressed out every month, like staying up till 4 a.m. just trying to sell people some art. It was hard for me too, because I really was passionate about the art we were selling. There were all like lots of local street artists and stuff who would do canvas pieces for us. And like one time I was at this club, Sound Nightclub. We would like set up like a bunch of easels in their like back of their smoking outdoor section, pretty much take it all over and have a little art show out there, like Saturday nights. And one guy bought this piece for like $3,000, and then comes back to me later with like a bunch of girls and asks me, what piece did I buy? I want to show them. Doesn't even know.
Wow.
It's right in front of him. He doesn't even know which one he
That's
bought.
crazy.
Like it's just like, it was just a total flex, kind of like LA, like weird cultural thing, you know? And it really turned me off. I was just like, dude, like this sucks. Like,
yeah.
and like, is that really like what I gotta do to be successful is cater to that guy. Like that's my clientele right there.
That's a crazy
So that was
story.
like kind of hard for me. So eventually I kind of got down on it. You know, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to get a nice corporate job. So I decided to go back to college. I closed that place and I moved to Seattle, actually. Worked at a print shop in Seattle, not screen printing, just like normal printing. And just went to school for a while. And that was pretty much my plan. Then I moved back to LA and I've just been going to school for interaction design. And then once COVID started, it all went online. I came back up here. And this all has kind of taken off and taken me kind of by surprise, too.
Yeah.
It was kind of just like a creative project. I hadn't done a creative project pretty much since I decided to stop being creative. Pretty much in my mind, I was like, no more creativity. You're wasting time. Like, go get a fucking 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Get that corporate paycheck.
Yeah.
But I think what I've realized over the years is like it's just not me. You know what I mean? Like in some of my classes where like I just look around the class, I'm like, I just don't fit in here. I just like these people are like so ready to just be slotted into this corporate job, and I'm just like I just don't.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm just more of like an entrepreneur, I guess. I don't know. So it's been really nice to like come back here and start this up at Troy and just like be creative and just mess around with trying to make cool products and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
We were probably feeling the same way about the same time, completely different things. Like I said, I was studying to be a sommelier, and I love it. I love wine. I love the whole aspect of it, the farming, the magic it takes to create, the chemistry it takes to create this epic bottle of juice that we all get a little drunk off of. It's fun.
Cheers.
But when I started going down that training, you know, you wear a suit and a tie and the whole nine, and it just didn't feel right to me. It took away the organic aspect of what we were doing. And, you know, I'd spent time with boots on in the farm in the mud, you know, and to try to sell somebody this X bottle and try to explain to them why it's worth so much and why this person gave so much care and you know, and
treasure
then,
this.
and then like Dan says, which one did I buy?
Yeah.
You know, that really wore me out. And when we all got a reflection during this time at home and was like, man, do I really want to continue to do this? And it's like, as much as I love this field and these things, that was a really hard answer. And the answer is no. You know, I don't want to go to these events. I don't want to work until midnight, 2 a.m. every weekend just to do this. It's like, and Dan calls me right when I'm in the middle of thinking this. Say, hey man, can you make me some T-shirts?
Yeah.
Yes, I can. I absolutely can.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people go through, you know, it's just a creative person in general.
Yeah.
Even if you don't end up going back to art or anything, or if you never went to art in the first place, I'm sure there's tons of people who are just doing a mainline job just because they think, oh, I can't make money on it, it's just going to hurt me in the end, you know what I mean? And that's tragic.
I gave up before I even started, really. My freshman year of college, that's what I went to school for, was art. Before the first semester was over, I thought, this isn't for me.
Yeah, I don't want to be homeless.
Go into this building, listen to these people tell me what pictures drawn and that I'm doing it wrong. It's my brain didn't work. This isn't for me. And I met some good people in the food world that like totally changed what creative art is, you know, making food.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. But I've been there, and it's like when you get to come back to that and you go, oh yeah, I do have these skills and this refreshing creativeness. Let's make something. It comes back, you know, and I feel like an artist has it in them regardless. It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Do you think you took a lot away from your time in art school, though? Because, like, when you look at your work, it's, like, so pristine. I don't know how to say it. Precise. Like, it seems, like, classical, like, classically trained.
Looking back on it
artist.
now, I wish I would have progressed further with college, you know, higher education. But the high school teacher that I had, and that's from, you know, like 8th grade on to my senior year in high school, I had an incredible art teacher, Mrs. Franklin.
Shout out Miss Franklin.
Shout out Miss Franklin big time, because she was the one that like really put me on track and said, you got something here and you got to keep drawing. Put your head down, you know, like keep going. And gave me the opportunity to take a lot of classes, you know, and gave me a lot of good information. And so unlocked some of those things. My dad, incredible artist, you know, and so I kind of have it. And from a young age, I drew things, you know, and I kind of mimicked what he would do, and he was like a realism style drawer. So from a young age, I was mimicking and getting the mechanics, and then I had a really great teacher that kind of helped me push that. And when I'm like feeling my best, I am a good artist. I go to college and they're just like, no, you're
slap you down.
Dude, we should do a Miss Franklin T-shirt. Dude, you should draw Miss Franklin.
Hey, there you go. Actually, I'll see if I can dig it up out of the grave. I have an old caricature of all them from high school. Let's see if I can find that.
That's awesome.
I'd be down to do a
We'll
Smile Us Miss Franklin shirt, dude. I'd be so down. That's actually cool, and do a whole series of people who inspired us throughout life or whatever. Inspired anyone, you know what I mean? I feel like that's what Spy Alex is all about.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I would have art school. Like, I always was terrified of that. I was always good at art, but I was terrified of exactly what you said. And obviously it was an ego thing of like, I don't want anyone telling me that my artwork's no good.
Exactly, my artwork's good. I don't need anybody critiquing me in front of the whole class.
But I've talked to people who've gone through art school. Natalia, she went through art school, and she said the same thing. Like, that's how it goes throughout all of it. Is like it's just a constant trying to tear you down. And, hopefully you have a good enough professor who's going to build you back up. But she said it's not always the case. So how many artists that just totally get down on themselves through art school and just they burn out?
There's also the thing that art school is like, it's kind of like a really direct path within the creative industry of art. You know what I mean? So I've read a lot of articles talking about how people lost a lot of their creative ability, at least they thought they did, after art school, because they had lots of like innate things that they were doing when they were creating their art that got taught out of them. You're supposed to, in art school, like break you down from all your patterns and then rebuild them where you lost all your bad habits. But some of those bad habits can make a really unique art piece and make someone's whole career based on a bad habit that you lost during art school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, when you talk about school, it encompasses a lot. Art is a big word. There's a lot of different things art. I can take a paintbrush and glob some things on, in my own way and throw some dots here and a dash there. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
But that's not realism art, and a realism portrait with charcoal is a far different technique. And it's kind of hard, I think, in art school because there is the opportunity to do a bunch of different styles. But when you hone in and focus on your one, then you're really focusing in on that one. And it's different once you don't have that lineup of what you have to do throughout the year. You just get to create. And like I said, when I came in here and saw you guys throwing a bunch of paint everywhere, I was like, whoa, color, this is awesome. I can do that, so at least try. If it doesn't happen, not. But if it does, something cool comes out of it. Yeah. I know that.
Pollock.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of subjective, and when you're trying to fit in those circles and squares and you don't necessarily, it's easy to get burnt out. And I was definitely one of those victims of, I give up, and I wish I wouldn't have in the long run, but, it opened up a whole different world for me. So, no mistakes, no regrets, but it's one of those things you got to be diligent also, and it's hard. It's hard when your creative block is getting pushed in a different direction.
Well, that's what's tough too. Like, we don't put enough credit on what it takes to be a great teacher. Like, unfortunately, we go to universities or we go to higher education expecting great teachers, and that's not always the case. Like
hardly ever is.
Yeah, it's very rare to run into these amazing teachers. Talking about your Miss Franklin, I had an art teacher in middle school, and I'll always remember the fact that he actually. He told me not to do his class. Like, he had a program where they took a few kids out of the art class and they just let them paint murals the whole semester or whatever it was. And so that's what I did. Like, I got into art class and he saw that I was just doing what I wanted to do. And he didn't want to...
He respected it.
Yeah, he didn't want to take that away from me. So he pushed me down that path.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about, right? Didn't want you to lose something.
Yeah.
And I think those are the best teachers, the ones who can see something in you, and then they know how to push you down that way.
Right.
And you don't necessarily have to break people down to make them better.
I think teaching is all about acceptance. You're not going to change these kids. You see them for a couple hours a week or whatever. You know what I mean? They have families at home. You have nothing to do with who they are as a person. You're not going to change them. Yeah. I had one teacher who would drive me to school in the morning because he knew I wouldn't come. In middle school, it's I think everyone has that one teacher who really made a difference. Who's like, dude, if you just do this, you'll get by in life. It's like, oh crap, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a thankless job and like so important to our society, and it's sad that teachers are like some of the worst paid professions that we've got.
Yeah.
But they, like you said, we've all had that one teacher that's like had that impact on our lives, and I wish we respected that more as a society, realizing that teachers have a huge impact on kids' lives. And
Oh, absolutely. I can attest. My mom's a first grade teacher in the same school for, well over 30 years now.
wow.
So, absolutely. They fundamentally shape kids, and to have somebody that doesn't just go by the book and actually cares for people is a big deal.
Yeah.
You see that in the long run.
Yeah.
Here we are talking about our high school teachers.
Yeah. You gotta work with the kid,
No, it's an important profession, but
Yeah.
And I've learned a little bit about teaching just doing the paint parties with Jess.
Yeah.
And today was kind of cool. We had one of the ladies who did a lot of the virtual paint parties with us. She came in and did Jess's paint party today, and this is the first time we got to meet her in person, and like it
That's
was
crazy.
cool. Yeah, she came up and she gave me a really nice compliment where she said, you're a great artist, but you're a better teacher.
Wow.
No one's ever told me that. And I
mean, that means you're an amazing teater, dude.
Well,
you're a really good artist.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean,
Big props.
Like a ridiculously good teacher.
To me, it was an honor because she's a really good artist herself, and it was just an honor in the sense that I don't know how to teach.
Yeah.
Like I was stressing doing those paint parties, just like figuring out, okay, I had to break it down for myself, and maybe that's what it is like I learned to express just the simple stuff and just tried to break it down so that it was simple.
I think you have the perfect personality to teach, though, because I feel like you can be really patient.
Yeah, well, yeah.
At least you can seem like that.
No, that's true.
I think that's really all it takes. Is like, just don't get mad with people when they don't understand something, and just explain it as the best of your knowledge.
Yeah.
That's like, especially I'm over at this screen printing shop right now, and the guy's been screen printing for 30 years or something. And he's a really good, great teacher, and he says like, oh, I'm so bad at teaching, like I can't teach you anything pretty much, but like he's amazing at teaching. Like when I ask him a question, he'll stop everything he's doing and explain it fully.
Yeah.
And that's all anyone wants, right? It's like an explanation when you ask a question, you get by.
Yeah. It's a really important trait to have. I'll give him props to this whole podcast. Scott Shapley at Roar, the winemaker there. I'd never made wine before. I know a little bit about it, but we're going through a fire season with smoke. Everything is different. Everything is constantly changing, as is with wine anyway, but with different chemicals going on like smoke, there's a lot of decisions that had to be made. And he could have just brushed me off. It was like, we're busy. There's things going on. I don't have time to teach you. But they did the exact opposite of that and taught me every little thing, stopped and break things down. And I took so much out of that simply because of, the attitude. And I'm not a teacher, but I'll tell you how to do this. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that. How many jobs have we had along the way? I've worked in several different kitchens that, this guy's rough around the edges, but he doesn't want you to screw up. Idiot. Yeah. So he actually teaches you everything that you need to know. He doesn't realize it, but when someone breaks something down for you and gives you a little more information, gives you the time to give you the information, and you take it, you can run with it.
I gotta shout out Powers too for teaching. He really got us in here, started teaching us stuff.
I think Powers just likes to hear himself talk, So he just likes to talk about it, so he tells us how to do it. But no, he's an incredible teacher also.
He really is, yeah.
Because he cares about what he does, first and foremost. He's good at it. And it's the little details that make you good at things. And when those little details go wrong and it annoys you personally, you're going to tell somebody not to do it. That makes you a good teacher.
Also, like, if you have like a passion for something, it's fun to answer questions.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, if I have knowledge about something and someone's curious about it, I'm so happy to show off my knowledge. Like, oh yeah, I'll tell you all about it. You know what I mean? And it feels really good. And you can see that with Powers. Like, sometimes I feel bad asking a lot of questions. It's kind of my personality. I'll just bother people with questions. But I can see Powers will be having another conversation. I'll interrupt like I always do and ask him a question. And I can see he kind of gets excited about the question and answers my question. And it's really cool environment of just be I don't know, just be passionate about something together and be learning and getting better. It's just really fun.
100%. I think that passion, that's critical to.
Absolutely.
If you're not passionate about something, it comes out. You can just feel it. Mm-hmm. We said, we've all remember our great teachers, but we also all remember our terrible teachers.
That
and
is
it's
really
because
true.
they don't have any passion for it, and it just like totally turns you off to the whole subject.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, quick story about that. I actually went to school starting with in architecture, but I had two terrible professors in architecture that were just so bland and so just like you could tell they didn't even want to be there. It turned me off to the whole scene of architecture. When I realized, I was like, I got to be in school for 12 years of this. Like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I switched to business, and I graduated with that, but. It's funny. It's one of those things where you were talking about going and getting a corporate job. I was in those classes doing business, seeing where my life was going to go. And as soon as I graduated, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I ended up just, all right, I'm going to try art.
That's one of those things. It's like I kept telling myself, like, well, when you get there, you're just gonna have to do it. You know what I mean? But like, I know I'm gonna get there, but like, but I don't want to do it. Like, I just did all this school.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I always tell people, it's funny that I hang, I don't have it with me in this studio, but usually in my studio I have my business degree.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm like, I literally don't use it for anything but just to hang there.
That's awesome, dude.
I mean, I will
you
say,
have a business now, though, bro. You got to use it, right?
I mean, I'll say that I learned organization probably more than anything.
I think that's all college is in the end of the day. It's like organization, learning how to like have a schedule and be on demand because nothing's too hard.
There's definitely the argument of school is not for everyone. Some curriculums in people's minds and how they work don't work. Mm-hmm. But for me, like you said, I learned how to organize myself. I learned how to, function with proper time and organize. That's just, my brain makes so much sense if everything's organized.
Do you have your notebook? You can show the camera. His notebook is like a piece of art. Like it really is.
But for me, it makes things easier, and those processes were taught to me. And like I said, that's not for everybody. So there's always the other side of the coin, but it helped me out for sure. But in the same token, that structure pigeonholed me into the sense of I don't even want to do any of this anymore. I'm moving. I didn't even finish my degree at Oklahoma State because I was so over it, just trying to keep doing it. And like, I had good grades and everything, but it didn't matter. It was just like, it wasn't working. What's fresh and new? Yeah. And I went with what was fresh and new. But the organization of school can really help, really take people a long way.
Yeah. If
you use it.
I do that with a lot of things. Even with like eating right, I'm like not let myself have any breaks. Like only eat right, and then like after like 2 weeks of that, I'm like, okay, fuck this. Only burgers for a week out. You gotta like know who you are and like cater to like your own personality, like despite how hard you're doing anything.
Well, that's so true. Like everything, we all approach things different, and it takes us down different paths. Like what you're saying, you got turned off by the school and you just decided to go. See, I took the opposite direction. I was turned off by school almost immediately, like with the architecture thing, and then but then like I switched something in my brain. I shouldn't take full credit for that. My dad actually, I went to school in New Mexico, and I was about to come back to California after like the first semester. I was just so burnt out immediately, and I was like, nah, this ain't for me. And I remember having one conversation with my dad over the phone, and he was like, because I had talked to my mom first, and I was like, look, I think I want to come back. My mom was like, yeah, absolutely, come back.
Your dad's like, nope.
It's probably one of the best things my dad ever did for me is that he straight up said no. And he told me the story of him, like he went to UC Berkeley, which I had not known before. And he told me in that.
You're like, wow, big shot.
Yeah, he said, I went to UC Berkeley for 2 months, and I got burnt out. And I said, nah, I'd rather make money. He's all, I don't have regrets, but that if I had a regret, that was it. Yeah. He's like, you do what you're going to do, but you can't come back here. Yeah. So you decide right now if you need to finish something. And, he's like, just finish something. And
that's so important, dude.
And that switched everything in my brain. I was like, okay, I got to finish this. So I ended up finishing school, and it was solely because of what he told me that day. And you know, I think that's important too, is like learning. For me, that was huge to learn how to finish what I start.
As a person, right? And that's like basic.
Yeah.
Like it's really important to get that.
Yeah.
Shout out Pops.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the biggest things he's ever done for me, for sure. And it's funny, it's from
Gotta be
him
hard.
saying no.
Well, it's got to be a hard choice as a parent, too.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
He wanted you to come home, kick it with him,
sure,
you know what I
for
mean?
sure.
Like, but he's like, no. Like, he stayed on there. He's like, shit. You know what I mean?
I still have the same conversation with my parents to this day. This morning I talked to them, and they want me there next to them in
Yeah.
Oklahoma, but they also are the most supportive people in knowing, like, you're an individual and you know your strengths, go get it, you know, and we'll support you. And they've supported me. I'm lucky. I got an amazing family. But I do my own thing, and they've always supported that. Never was I just shunned because of it, you know, but always supported. They would have me back in a heartbeat. You know, I still have the room there with the same clothes.
Teddy bear waiting for you.
Yeah, they've spruced it up, you know, the last couple of years. But you know, lucky to have good parents that support what you do, whether you know, stay or go.
Yeah.
I went. They did not want me to go.
Yeah.
But they said you got to do it.
Yeah, like you said, that must be so hard for a parent, you know,
yeah.
because your own love wants to keep them close or keep, you know, protect, but it's also you're helping this life grow into something and hopefully take care of themselves. So then that's when you gotta do what your heart doesn't want you to do, but you know that you need to do. So, I mean, I have a lot of respect for that. I don't know. I don't have
think
kids.
you have any kids, right? I was
No,
about to say,
I can't
shout
do
out to
that.
the parents from three
Yeah.
guys that don't have kids.
Yeah, right. That's why we don't do it. We know that kind of responsibility.
I'm not ready for that, man. I'd be like, yeah, come on back. We'll drink some brews.
Well, I don't want to keep you guys here all day. I know we all got things to do, but this has been an awesome conversation.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
should
man.
definitely
Thank you
do it
for having
again. As maybe, you know, as time goes on, we'll see how our business is doing.
Yeah, we should do part 2 once the website's up.
Yeah. So say the website again. So
It's going to be
people know.
odasmilex.com.
ODASmileX.com.
1 day away. We're all 1 day away from apparently catastrophe.
Yeah.
Apparently our world's shutting down. Apparently our normal lives that we're all accustomed to and our freedom's just gone.
Yeah,
So remember to smile.
that's
You
right.
know, that's what ODA Smilex is all about, because who knows? We're 1 day away from, or not.
Yeah, 1 day away from anything, you know?
That's awesome.
Gotta
So
figure it
coming
out.
soon, we got artwork. I got some artwork. You know, life is good.
Absolutely.
Life is good, and it's getting better.
Thank God for the shop.
Yeah.
We appreciate everyone here.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
it's awesome having you guys here. You guys have brought a whole new energy to the place, and everyone loves you guys. So, thanks for
Well,
being here. And
Like we said, I think both, I can speak for Dan too, when we both stepped foot in this place, we were both so blown away by all the work you guys have put into it. Just the energy was blooming, and it still is, but it was just like, whoa,
yeah,
you guys are on it. You know what you're doing. I want to be a part of this.
Oh, the mural.
Yeah. it's just-
Jeez, mural. The first day I walked in, he's working on it, drawing like naked powers on the ceiling.
Gee.
I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, the podcast needs to see that mural in the 16th chapel.
Yeah, we'll put a post of it. Well, thank you guys, Troy Harcrow, Dan Slade.
Yeah.
You guys can see him around the shop, and
Joe.
Tacitus Kilgore on
At,
Instagram.
at Troy_Harcrow.
Mm-hmm.
Holla.
And you guys know me at Abaka Art. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to get more of these going now, so stay tuned, follow, subscribe, do everything that you need to stay in touch and know what we got going on at the shop. We also have pop-ups every second Saturday. We had it today, so we're literally here right after our pop-up. So if you're in Monterey, make sure and stop by next month. Other than that, we'll see you on the next one.
Joe Rastafari.
Thank you, Joey. Everything you do.
Thank you, Joey. Wow.
Masa Network. Masa Arte Network.